Hello everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Cave Factory. I was thinking about the Twilight Forest, right? And that's gonna unlock the environmental controller, which is gonna get us flight in this room, and not much else. And at the cost of power as well, so the bigger the radius, the more power it's gonna take. So, I thought of a better way. I just did a whole bunch of Trinket Unlocking, and we pretty much have every single trinket unlocked that we didn't have before, which is a lot. So if you look in here, we have 40 slots for trinkets and 40 trinkets currently activated. And they're, I think, one of the best, all of the best trinkets that we can have at one point, at any point in time to do things. There are some other ones, if let's say we remove the starfish, we put this here. These are all the trinkets that I don't have active, which is some of it like Frostwalker or bookshelves are not needed for enchanting, and other things that are kind of really pointless. Octopus leg, chance when an enemy attacking you, they will drop their weapon. It's not really. The ash gloves is a cool thing. It basically removes the attack delay, so it's 1.18 spam clicking, I think, or I don't know when spam clicking was the thing, but that's a cool thing. So, as far as the rest of the trinkets go, first of all, we have magical feathers, which give us creative flight, so we don't need the jetpack anymore, so we can fly at all points, everywhere, which is amazing and OP, but it is a thing that is a thing. So, the next thing that we have, or the next 5 trinkets, are broken hearts. They add 2 hearts each, so we have a whole bunch of hearts, as you can see down here. Then we have +1 looting, another +1 looting, which works on ranged as well. Then we have Mossy Ring, which slowly repairs my held items, which is why I switched back to Tinker's pickaxes, and we'll talk about that in a moment. Then we are immune to arrows. We're immune to all bad potions. We're immune to wither and poison. We're immune to nausea, mining fatigue, and slowness. We're immune to fire damage. We have a chance of getting a small buff of saturation potion when eating. We have eating food heals you. We have Mirror Shard, which will mean that enemies that attack me will get hurt for half the damage that they deal. We deal 10% more damage, we deal 20% more damage. We do life stealing, we are knockback resistant, we can poison enemies, we can wither enemies, we can summon Vexes to spawn and attack when somebody attacks me. We can burn our enemies. If they're targeting us, they will automatically get burnt. Then we can set my enemies on fire by attacking them. We get luck 2, which affects opening loot chests and I believe fishing loot. And other than that, that's pretty much it, which is kind of cool. You get better rolls at opening dungeon chests and stuff, so that's cool. We already had this one, creepers will not spawn an explosion. We have a small chance of getting treasure bags. I think I showed that last time. I might have not. But you get treasure bags which have gold items in it and random enchantments and stuff. It's kind of cool. And we have a broken totem which has a chance to call the Totem of Undying if we're about to die. Then we have, if we have more than 3 hearts and we are about to die, it will prevent us from dying and will set us as half a heart. And then it triggers this one, which gets us invisibility when we have a half a heart. When we have a heart or less, so half a heart is less, and then we have the ghost, which when we are invisible, all entities and players cannot see you even when you're wearing armor and held items, so we basically go fully invisible if we're about to die, if this doesn't trigger. So then we also have Horseshoe, which can give us a 1-block step assist. We have the Bat, which provides us with night vision. We have Treasure Ring, which means that bosses drop dungeon loot. We have Karma, where we receive discount for villager trades. We then have the Wizard, which is Love You, Baby Monster Scared from You, and Increase my attack speed, which is what I showed before. But we will add the Starfish back to gain extra XP. So, that was a whole lot, but let's talk about Tinker's tools now. I have now tools with 40 mining speed, and another upgrade left over if we need to upgrade it for something. But this now insta-mines stone with anything. And I'm not even using the trinket that increases mining speed. So that is pretty cool. So I achieved that with a special combination of materials. If we toss this in here, we are using an Electrum pickaxe head. We're using a Hepatizan tool handle and a Tinker's Bronze tool binding. So that gives us a 15% maintained mining, I believe that's from the maintained. The tool mines faster when at higher durability. I don't know if we remove the Tinker's Bronze, if our tool will still mine, or still insta-mine, but I think it should. So if we then explain the rest of the things, we basically did an Electrum, Hepatizan, Tinker's Bronze, firstly pickaxe, and then I put on a diamond, because you need that to put on netherite, so we can get a mining level of netherite. And then I put on a bunch of redstone and a whole bunch of all of the upgraded things. So I put in a booking quill, I put in a dragon's head, I put in just a regular creeper head or any sort of head that you have, and then I put on a ender dragon crystal, or actually this is draconic is from the dragon head and the resurrected is from the dragon, the end crystal. And then I put on the gilded, which trades an ability slot for 2 upgrade slots. And then I could put on silky and a bunch of haste, and that's pretty much it. So I did the same thing for a mattock instead of an axe, so we can have as basically a shovel and an axe in one. And then I just have my regular old sword from before. And since we have now the repairing trinket, this guy, the mossy ring, which slowly repairs our health items, we can just use these tools indefinitely, and they will repair if I just keep them in my hand. So I'm not really going to go netherrack mining with this pickaxe because it has only 896 durability, but it's not like we need netherrack. But anyway, yeah, we have now pretty much infinite tools, pretty much infinite armor, which even if we want to get into like Tinker's armor, there is a trinket that repairs your armor. This guy, Mossy Belt, slowly repair equipped armors. And we can get into Tinker's armor if we wanted to for some reason. But I think the unstable armor is going to prove that it's better. And even if we grab the other armor, this guy, the infused armor, which we can make possibly at some point. But yeah, that is what I did in between episodes. And to explain how I got all of those trinkets, I went into the configs and I looked at what unlocks trinkets fastest. And the fastest thing is boss killing, which I didn't do, but I went for the second fastest thing, which is villager trading. So I just basically traded with these guys. I have an infinite amount of rotten flesh, I have an infinite amount of gold, I have an infinite amount of glass bottles, and then pretty much an infinite amount of emeralds because of that. So I traded with these two. And then I also traded with these 2 butchers, which now that we have the mob farm, we are getting a bunch of whole raw things because I removed the fiery upgrades from the mob crusher. So I traded a bunch, and that unlocked a bunch of trinkets. And then I was like, it's kind of going very slowly, and it's not AFK, and I have to trade a bunch. And then I just turned on this spawner, which is a blaze spawner. I don't know if I showed that I changed this, but I had this as a wither skeleton spawner, and now I changed it to blaze because I needed some blaze rods. But I just did this, and I set up a macro on my keyboard. So I just do this. I'm not holding my keyboard, not holding my mouse, not doing anything. So I just sit here. I went and watched an episode of something and laid on the couch for like an hour. And it unlocked a whole bunch of trinkets. So that is pretty cool. And ooh, speaking of treasure bags, perfect timing. So the treasure bag you open and you get gold stuff out of it, which I just smelt in the smeltery for more gold. It's not really necessary. I could trash it, but it's easier to just toss it in the smeltery and pour it out. So yeah, that's pretty much what I did. And now we are pretty much OP. And I don't know if I want to go do the Twilight Forest for some reason, because the Lamp of the Cinders is only for the machine casing, right? For the machine frame. We can make a builder, a screen controller, blazing generator, coal generator, matter booster, matter receiver. Okay, teleportation, I guess, is unlocked with that. Pearl injector, blazing fuser, crafters, spawners, dialing devices, tank, power cells. I mean, we get dimension. Yeah, we have flux points. So we don't really gain too much by doing the Twilight Forest. And I know I said we're going to do the Twilight Forest, but I don't think we're going to go do the Twilight Forest. One thing that also happened in between episodes is my netherite crafter got all unsorted, and I am gonna stop caring about how patterns are in here because it really doesn't matter. I don't know why I try to organize them, but it's nice to see and everything. It's just my weird brain trying to organize things. But what I did is I did this to move the crafter, and it deleted all the patterns. So don't do that. Or your patterns will get deleted. And it also does a weird thing where the crafter doesn't hook up, so you have to break it and place it, and then it hooks up, I think. Or not even. I had to break the cable behind it, and now it's connected. Anyway. So the idea that I have is to create a reactor, and for a reactor I need a lot of steel, and to make a lot of steel I need quite a bit of power to run the arc furnace at a decent speed. So for power, we just have this, but over time, we can just store up a bunch of power. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna replace our basic storage with 1,000,000 RF to a gargantuan storage. And if we select power, it should start coming in fairly quickly here. And what I can then do is just wait for this to get filled up to a bunch, and we can then run the arc furnace. I've been running the arc furnace here and there, and we now have 1.7k steel ingots. And I'm gonna keep on running it. We're currently drained like almost half the power, and it's still coming in. But what we can do is there's 4 slots for coal coke, so I basically do 4 iron ingots at a time. So we can just do something like this. There we go. And I just spread them out normally. So we run it at basically full capacity. And I know that this has a distribute inputs button, but it doesn't work properly. It doesn't distribute it super evenly. So I just do this. And this drains 6,000 RF per tick, 6,144, which is quite a bit since we're only producing like 1,500, 1,400. That's the max that these thermoelectrics are getting. So we're draining like 4,700 out of here pretty much. But it does last quite enough for this to finish its processing, and then we're just gonna do other things, and the power will build up again anyway. So that is pretty cool. I think we're pretty much out of coal coke. We have 25 more blocks, but I've been slowly just adding more and more to the coke oven wherever I have that, over by the Tinkers here. I've just been adding coal, and it's been slowly making it. And I've also been making steel in here, but you have to manually take out the slag and the steel. It finishes after 7 blocks or so, but it is a nice input as well. So what I want to do right now, because we still need to wait on more steel, I don't know exactly how big of a reactor I want to go for or how much steel we're going to need for the size of the reactor. So I think I want to start setting up ore processing, right? And we're going to do the reactor next episode once we have enough steel and enough resources to do it. So I'm going to tear down the smeltery. We're probably going to put it somewhere in a wall where we will just have it for niche uses for making tools and stuff, but we are not really going to use the smeltery for ore processing anyway. I don't know if I might even set it up again, except for processing netherite. I think that might be the only thing. And maybe blazing blood if we're going to auto-process netherite, but other than that, I'm just going to go tear it down, and we're going to build our ore processing system somewhere here. We are going to need a bunch of crushing wheels for what I want to do, because I want to have processing a few different ores. I don't want to run just everything through the same pair of crushing wheels, because I think we're producing ores faster than we would be able to process them other way. So, super fast crafting. We have 4 now, or 6 in total. So I'm going to make a few more. I don't know how many, but I'm going to be on the safe side and make like half a stack or something, just so we have them and never have to worry about them ever again. So the idea that I had is to have crushing wheels on one side and also on the other side. And each of these crushing wheels at max speed uses 2048 stress units, which means that one of these furnace engine dudes produces 16,384. So we could potentially run 4 of these at max speed with one furnace engine. And since we're going to be constantly producing coal and constantly processing coal, we can easily sustain that. We can run it on coal blocks, and it's going to run pretty much indefinitely. And eventually we could switch it up for power but I'd rather have a system where we constantly process ores anyway. So I don't think we are going to need to run 4 of these at max speed to keep up with the ore generation that we're getting. We currently have to do that because we have a giant backlog of ores, but this is going down. We're not producing coal faster than this is processing it, at least at max speed. So I think eventually we are going to be able to turn the speed down. And I don't know if I think there's a gearbox where you can say how much speed goes into a specific part of the machine. So we can still produce max power here, and we can then divvy up the stress units amongst the 4 of these. So I think for the moment, I'm just gonna set up these that need to be processed, and I'm thinking we should have coal in just one of these, and then we can have redstone on another, and then lapis on another, and then diamonds and emeralds on another. I think that'll be easiest. Right now, I just want to clear the backlog of all of these, so I set up the redstone as well, and also the lapis, and also here we have diamonds and emeralds, which we set up before. And I also thought of a really cool thing. We can turn on and off the crushing wheels. We don't have to have them running all the time, because then once we're here, we're going to see them spin, process the ore, and stop. And I think it's going to be a more visually pleasing solution. So I don't know if this is going to work, but it's just testing. So I have a comparator with a redstone upgrade for emitting signal for total storage. And then I have an adjustable repeater, and I set it to 20 seconds. So after this stops receiving the signal, after 20 seconds, it's going to turn off, and it's going to turn on these clutches, which is going to turn off the crushing wheels. So I think that might work. I don't know if 20 seconds is enough. We might adjust it for more or less, but basically we're going to see this trigger once we process all of these ores. And the reasoning for me clearing out the backlog is because I want to see how many ores I can process in a single crushing wheel. Because if we can process, let's say, 2 ores here and 3 ores here without having an issue with producing too many ores, we can just have 2 crushing wheels processing all of these. Right now, I have it on 4 just so we can clear the backlog a little bit faster. And I'm just going to go and sit here for a little bit. While we probably try and figure out how we're going to do the ore washing thing. And in the meantime, it's going to clear out the backlog. I am just playing around with some belts, and these are moving way too fast for it to look actually pretty and actually like a factory, because it's just going zoom everywhere. So I'm going to have to tweak the rotation speed of everything, but I did use chain drives, which just transfer rotational power downwards, and then you can twist them 90 degrees to transfer power this way. I'm using a gearbox and then 2 gear shifts. I don't even need this gear shift here, I just have it in here for symmetry, but when you power this, it reverses the gear direction. So if I do this, it's gonna throw everything this way. So it's not a thing that we would want, so we can toss all of that in there. And then over here, I just have a brass funnel, which is feeding directly into this ender chest. So the ender chest can then put everything into the drawer controller. And it's looking kind of nice. And you don't see the ugly ender chest from pretty much anywhere except for the little bit of the corner. But it looks cool, I think. So this finished processing, by the way. And right now, it's waiting 20 seconds. It's going to turn on. It's going to process both, and then it's going to turn off after another 20 seconds. So I think we can do like 10 seconds possibly on this. I think that should work, but it does work, the system. So after around 10 seconds, it should turn this thing off, right? Yep, there we go. It's off. And then once we receive ores again, it's going to process again, which is neat. We're at 80,000 coal now and 35,000 redstone, and we're almost done with the lapis. So I really think that we can process multiple of these. For example, lapis, diamond, and emerald, we can definitely process in one system. Possibly not coal and redstone, but we could combine, let's say, coal with lapis and diamond, or with emerald and diamond in here, because we're not going to get that many emerald or diamond ore. So we can do that, and then we can combine the redstone and the lapis in one, and I think that should be perfectly fine. And then we can use just 2 wheels for processing all of the things. So I've been playing around with the ore washing system, and And I kind of don't like it because you get more nuggets from one little piece, and then what happens is the nuggets or the pieces just get stopped on the belt until they get transferred over. So if we start processing all of the ores at the same time, we're just gonna have a huge mess on here. And I'm thinking, what if we just process the ores with the crushing wheels, and then instead of doing the ore washing right away, just to clear out the backlog, we put them directly through a rainbow furnace and just smelt up everything? I think that will work. And then once we have backlog cleared, we can see how fast we're gonna get an input of ores, and possibly we can do the whole ore washing process. I added all the recipes, so we can now craft 4 rainbow furnaces, and they're done. Okay, so that's been sick. Okay, cool. So what we're gonna do is just put them right over here. I was testing things out with drawers, but it just didn't really work properly. So we're just gonna do this here. And I'm gonna take you away, which we don't need, and put you here as well. And now I need 4 of those wireless heater things. These guys, wireless heat receivers. If we go into our crafting window, 1, 2, 3, 4. They don't stack. I hope I can link them to the same thing. I also may have mayhaps gotten crushed by the crushing wheels at some point. I was processed by the crushing wheels, which is funny. So if we come over here and toss these in here, they're gonna link, I believe. Yep. 2, 4. I don't know if I'm gonna have enough power to do this actually, because they take quite a bit of power, these rainbow furnaces. If not, we can probably swap to a netherite furnace. We might not need the speed upgrade though for these. So hold on. Let's do a quick little test. I'm gonna toss this away, otherwise it just eats my ores. So we're gonna toss you 2 in here. And in the rainbow furnace. Oop, I don't have the... Of course I don't. Okay, hold on. Now we can process iron. And this is gonna go into the rainbow furnace. Yeah, it still cooks up everything. And what we can then do is just grab a chute, which I have in my inventory. Toss you here. Oh, and this belt isn't moving because we need a gearbox. And we don't really need this guy anymore. At least not for now. Well, I'm just going to leave him be for the moment. But yeah, that is going to process stone and also iron directly. But yeah, that works. Simple, and it works. I now have pretty much almost every ore processing except uranium, because I don't know where to stick it. We have 2 ores in each, and I'm just going to wait for the backlog to go in, and this is still going to keep collecting it. We have the ender chest, and it's extracting everything out into the drawers, so it's good. As far as rotational powers to everything, we still have the rotational speed controller right here, transferring power to all of the crushing wheels, and then I took just a belt down here, and another rotational speed controller on both sides, which has this on -64, and on the other side, I believe it's 64, 46, 46, 64, that's the one. So basically, I then just have a little gear connecting to the other gear, and that's turning all of the belts, and it's all going into the correct spot, into the ender chest, which is currently not overwhelmed at all with items. It's totally getting everything from everywhere. So we are also now producing stone, which is kind of nice. So that should be going up in numbers as we process the ores. So now I think it's easiest for me to just sit here AFK for like an hour or 2 and see how far we can get with processing ores. I think we're almost done with redstone. Yeah, we're at 16k. It's getting there. While I was waiting for the ores to fully process, I decided to design this room a little bit, and I also redesigned how we run the belts from underneath, so it's no longer in the middle and everything is wonky, but it looks nice, and it's gonna look nice once it's gonna be covered. But I made a very sad, in a way, because it's gonna be a lot more work, realization. I think we might only need 2 of these to process ores as we get them, because we're not generating them that fast that we would need 6 of these. And it's easier to just have 2 of them turn on, and it's less space, and I can just cut off the like part of the room like this much, or somewhere here, and we can just have 2 conveyor belts going into one thing, not 3 conveyor belts or 6 conveyor belts or whatever. But just to show you what I did, this is the previous design of the redstone control. You can see the comparator, repeater, torches, everything, and then it goes over here in the middle, and there's an OR gate. So if any of these 3 are on, it turns on the exporter, and we're exporting now tiny coal instead of coal blocks. So the other side here, you can see that we have the torches here on the side. We have the comparator still in the same way, but it's very nicely hidden, everything behind the wall. So if we go over here, I will break this block so you can see. So as soon as the comparator gets a signal, it powers the block that I just broke. It powers this redstone dust, which powers the repeater, which turns off the torches after 4 seconds and then turns them on again after the ores are done processing. And then we have a repeater from CBM Multipart, which is the same thing as a regular repeater, but it looks fancier, so I use that. And then we run a red alloy wire directly here, and then it's the same thing. So as far as the wiring down below, I have chain drives, or encased chain drives. That is, I believe, right underneath this repeater. So that one just runs down here, and if we put inside, it runs all the way down here, and then we flip it 90 degrees. We get power over here, rotation speed controller, and then into a chain drive here, and it runs the left side of these. So as soon as we get ores up there, it triggers the this guy, the flywheel and the furnace engine. So it starts producing us rotational power, and then we power this, power the things, and we start processing everything pretty much. And the other side is exactly the same. We have the chain drives going here in the middle, and that's pretty much it. So everything else is relatively the same, I think. So yeah, what I'm gonna do is in between episodes, I'll get rid of everything that we don't need. I'll fiddle around if we can set up such slow belts that we can have the water flowing over them, so we can get more out of our ores rather than just smelting them. But other than that, I think I'll just get rid of all of the four of these, and firstly test it out probably a little bit before I tear everything down, if 2 of them will cover everything, but I think they should. So yeah, that's gonna be for next episode though. So with that, I want to thank you all so much for watching. I am really hoping you enjoyed today's episode. If you did, make sure to hit the like button. You can also subscribe to get notified of when new videos go live, and you can also support me on Patreon as well if you want. And I will see you all in the next episode. Have a good one. Bye-bye.